kids, welcome to Classroom Baking with Mrs. Hall. In this video, we're going to be making gluten, peanut, and dairy-free chocolate mug cake. It can be made in your classroom or at home. Did you know that baking teaches math and reading skills? Well, it does. When you follow a recipe, you're learning to measure volume or sometimes even weight, practicing phonics, reading comprehension, and learning about sequencing. That means ordering of a process or event. In case any parents are watching, these skills even coincide with the Kansas Elementary Learning Standards for reading, writing, and math. While we are on the subject of learning, let's talk about your learning goals. First, read the steps in the recipe. That's for reading comprehension and phonics skills. Then accurately measure the ingredients, math skills. Last, demonstrate understanding of the sequence of the recipe. That's a math skill, and it also helps you with your writing. I'll check back at the end to see if you remember these, but for now, go wash your hands and join me at the table. If you're baking this at home, I included a list of the tools and ingredients in the video description, so you can make sure that you have everything you need before getting started. For this recipe, the only tools that you need are a fork, this is for mixing, a mug, I like to use the extra large kind, and a container to catch your spills. I'm using a baking tray. Of course, you'll also need your cups and your measuring spoons. You will need coconut oil, oat milk, vanilla, gluten and nut-free flour, sugar, cocoa powder, baking soda, and salt. You also can put in chocolate chips or sprinkles. I'm going to use chocolate chips. First, measure 2 tablespoons of coconut oil. Then add 1/4 a cup of oat milk. Next, we add 1 teaspoon of vanilla. Stir in 1/4 a cup of allergy-friendly flour. With flour, it's really important not to pack it down when you measure it. It's best if you can use a spoon or a scoop and then make it level with your clean finger. Then we add 2 tablespoons of sugar, 3 tablespoons of cocoa powder, and 1/8 a teaspoon of baking soda. Last, we add the 1/8 a teaspoon of salt. If you don't have a 1/8 teaspoon, just use the 1/4 and only fill it up halfway. These 1/8 teaspoon ingredients won't ruin the recipe if you accidentally get a tiny bit too much or too little. After you've added them, mix it up really well. Last, mix in a small handful of chocolate chips or sprinkles, or 2, and stir it up really well. Then top it off with another handful. Now it's time to bake our mug cake. Place the mug in the center of the microwave and set the timer for 90 seconds. Every microwave is a little different, so if you have a super powerful microwave, start with 60 seconds. If you have an old one like I do, start with 90. When it stops, stick it with a clean fork to test if it's done. If the fork comes out goopy, clean off the fork and put the mug back in for another 30 seconds. Repeat this process again until your fork comes out without any goopy batter on it. Make sure to let your cake cool before you eat it so you don't burn your mouth. While we wait, let's clean up this mess. A lot of cleaning. I bet our cake is cool, but before we dig in, let's review the learning goals we talked about earlier. Did you read the steps in the recipe? Did you accurately measure the ingredients? Are you now able to demonstrate understanding of the sequence of the recipe by telling someone about what you did? Great! Then I've done my job and you've learned. Now it's time to pour a glass of milk and enjoy that cake. Thanks for baking with me.